Bryan and Swanson. Answering the cold call by the Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Good evening.
Good to see everyone here this evening. Tonight we're going to be talking about conquering the cold call. And we're going to be using a couple of different scenarios to help highlight conquering the cold call so that everyone can grasp a little bit of information if you've never cold called before, and hopefully you'll be able to take some information away and maybe apply it in your daily lives. That's what we're going to hope you'll get out of this. We'll see. We'll see where we go. So in a cold call scenario, the first thing you want to ask yourself is before you're going to engage in a call, pick up the phone, what is your objective? And typically your objective is going to be written out by a manager, a sales manager. They're going to tell you exactly what they want you to achieve. But you need to have in your mind that when you go into a cold call, that nobody can see you and you cannot see them. So this is completely intangible in many ways. The conversation is. And when you're communicating with them, they are going to be thrown off. They are going to be unsure. They are not going to know exactly why you're calling. And sometimes you'll get people that'll say all kinds of crazy things to you. But you need to have in your mind exactly what you're trying to accomplish with the call. Now the reason I tell you that people will say crazy things because they say crazy things to me every day, all the time. I want to die, this is dead, don't call me again. Screaming. I've heard it all. It's so much fun, it's delightful, and I enjoy the experience. But the reason that you need to know that is so that you're not diverted. When you're on the call, you need to stay in the call, and you need to not have these roadblocks or bumps in the road hit you and then take you off and be like, well, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing, and I've completely lost the call, which resulted in nothing. So you need to have in mind whatever your sales manager, your manager, or whatever you're trying to achieve from the call at the forefront. And always be thinking about that and just kind of skip on through the call. And we'll be going through these as we talk with the live audience here. We'll be going through these so that y'all get a feel for this. Normally in this particular speech, what you would do is you would pick out one person and do a non-rehearsal type scenario so that people could get the cold call feel. But I thought that this would be better with such a small audience to actually include every single one of you. Now, the question I have for you today is, are you a homeowner or have you ever been a homeowner?
Yes.
Is that everybody? Okay, perfect. So our scenario here is that I am an investor. I'm a real estate investor. I'm going to be cold calling you. I'm going to be cold calling you at your home or possibly on your mobile or at work, whatever phone number I got, because I'm going to call every one of them. Okay, that's always another scenario. You got to call every number, just so you know. And when I call, I'm going to be talking to you about purchasing your property, okay? Now when I talk to you, say whatever comes to mind, because this will enact a live scenario. Because you're going to be taken aback by the call coming straight out of the blue, and you're going to say whatever comes to the top of your mind. You could say things that are rude. You could say things like, don't call me anymore, oh, I don't know, fumble on the call, tell me to, whatever. You can say whatever you want. Because that is the reality of when you cold call. That's the experience you're going to have. So we're going to kind of walk through this, and I'm going to do an opener, and then we're going to kind of move through the exercise. And as we go from one person, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain a little bit about the process with each call and kind of what happened. And then I'll explain it further at the end, and then we can do a Q&A session. If you have any particular questions, please just write them down. Or if you're, on a particular point, if there's something you're trying to understand that you didn't get, please ask me so that I can relay that information to you. So we're going to start with you, Al, and we're just going to kind of work our way around, okay? Ring. Okay, now I'm ringing you, so let me do I'll instigate the call, and then you can respond to me. So, good afternoon. I was trying to reach Al.
Do I answer it first?
You can do whatever you want. Is this Al?
Hello.
Hello. Is this Al?
Hi. Who is this?
Oh, this is Bryan. I was just curious. I was actually trying to reach Al. Do you know, is he in today, or is this Al?
Yes, it is. And I'm so glad you called. I've been spending all day long waiting for somebody to talk to me because I have a problem.
That was the reason that I called today. So let me tell you a little bit about why I called today, Al, is that I work in real estate. And I actually work with a group of real estate investors. And the reason for the call today is that I wanted to reach out to you and talk to you about your property. The investors that I work with are trying to buy properties within this particular zip code. And I wanted to see if you'd be interested in selling your home for an all-cash offer. And I'll close in as little as 7 days.
Will you guarantee the price that I asked for?
It depends. What are you asking for?
$250 million.
$250 million. Possibly. Is your home worth $250 million?
As far as I'm concerned, including the foundation cracks along the...
Those are probably laced with gold, which would make it even higher value, I would assume. I mean, if you want $250 gajillion. You know, the funny thing about this is I'm on Zillow right now looking at the tax account, you know, the tax assessed property value, and it looks like it's about $128,000. So you want $250 gajillion for a $128,000 home, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. It looks like this will not be a good scenario for us, so I'm going to go ahead and just move on. Thank you for your time, Al. Boom, done.
But what about my hemorrhoids?
Not a doctor, just a cold caller. Boom! Catherine, I'm Bryan. It's very great to meet you this fine day. Isn't this awesome? You get to get thrown in the timer and a live audience call. Ring, ring. My name is Bryan. I'm trying to reach Catherine. Is Catherine in today?
Who is calling for Catherine?
Oh, my name is Bryan Thompson. I'm actually calling on behalf of a group of real estate investors today. Did I reach Catherine?
Yes, what can I do for you?
Excellent. We are looking to purchase a few properties within your zip code, and we're looking to pay all cash. And the reason for the call today, and I realize it's completely out of the blue, I'm just curious, have you thought about selling your home recently?
Not at all.
Not at all? Do you ever think about selling your home?
Not at all.
Not at all? You're gonna live there till the day you...
Sell it?
It's gonna sell at some point, regardless of how long you stay there. But that is true. Well, thank you so much for your time. I sure do appreciate it. Ring, ring, because this is exactly what cold calling is. Okay? We need to keep in mind our objective. My objective is to get somebody who's interested in selling their property. That's the one thing I want to talk to you about. Okay? You're next on my list. Ring, ring.
Ring, ring. Hello.
Hi, I was trying to reach Amy.
You got her.
Hey, Amy, this is Bryan Thompson. I realize the call's a little bit out of the blue today. But the reason for the call is I work in real estate, actually with a group of real estate investors here in San Antonio. And I was looking to purchase a property within your particular zip code. And I was just curious, have you thought about selling your home recently?
We would love to sell our home because we do have foundation issues, and I can tell you that everybody in our neighborhood has the same foundation issues. You still want to buy in this area?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what we're looking for. Do you have an idea what you're looking for the property? Ballpark price, maybe?
Probably about 10,000 over what you have on Zillow.
10,000 over what I have on Zillow. That's going to be tough with
15.
foundational issues.
Yes.
Of course. Have you had anybody look at your foundation and give you an estimate on repairs?
So we have. It's between $6,000 and $12,000.
Okay, $6,000 and $12,000. So if I was to deduct the $12,000 hypothetically that it may cost me, and then be able to offer you, $12,000 less than what you're asking, will that be something you're interested in?
Well, in all honesty, you'd have to talk to my husband because he handles all those issues that we deal with. And if I try to do anything with the house, he gets a little bit upset because I'm in his area of expertise. So
See?
his name is David. I'd be happy to give you his number.
Perfect. I'd love to take his phone number.
Just
I would
don't
give
tell him
David
that
a
I
call.
passed you on.
I'll just say that Amy gave me your number and I'm calling today because she said these foundation issues were just not something she wanted to talk about. She didn't feel comfortable talking about. So I wanted to give you a call today.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to put together some information. I'm going to pass it on to my home buying specialist, and they're going to follow up with you a little bit and ask some additional questions as well. But I'll give David a call and we'll see where we can go from there. Okay?
Handle everything with David because that's not my lane of experience.
I get that a lot. I get that a lot. But ultimately, do you know that it will be both of y'all that makes the decision?
Correct.
That's
but
always
he's the lead. Thank you, Bryan.
perfect. Thank you so much. Ring, ring. I was trying to reach Peppy.
Hello.
Hey, is this Peppy?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I can hear the reluctance. You're probably wondering who this is. This is Bryan Thompson. How are you doing today?
I'm well.
Good, good. Hey, I realize the call is completely out of the blue here, but the reason for my call today is I work in real estate. I actually work with a group of real estate investors here in San Antonio.
Sorry, I don't own a home. Thank you. Bye.
You don't own a home? Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, you already hung up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I still say bye. And on some of those, I'll also follow up with a God bless, especially for the people that cuss me out. Rain, rain.
Hello.
Hi, I was trying to reach Tracy.
Yep.
Hey Tracy, my name is Bryan Thompson. I realize this call is completely out of the blue this morning, but the reason for the call is I work in real estate and I'm looking to purchase a few properties around your zip code. And the reason for the call is just to see if you had thought about selling your home or something.
Maybe kind of, sort of.
Maybe kind of, sort of.
Uh-huh.
Kind of on the back of your mind a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. What are you thinking about selling? Maybe, here in the next couple of months, maybe in a year?
Yeah, maybe 6 to 12 months. 18, somewhere in there. Could easily go 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends. You got some
Yeah.
variables working and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You looking to downsize, or you moving out of state?
Yeah. Downsize.
Okay. Looking to downsize. Okay. And then you're going to be buying another property here. You're going to be moving in with a relative or any other type of situation like that.
No, probably build.
You're probably going to build.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Perfect. How much were you looking to get for your property? Do you have a ballpark price or?
No, not a ballpark price, but what organization did you say you were with again?
I work with a group of real estate investors, and they're called Unique Trust Investments. And so they represent, or the group here is here in San Antonio, and they purchase properties that are mainly for rehabs. That's primarily what we do. So when I call and I'm talking to somebody like you today, I'm looking for a property that may have some issues with it that need to be repaired, that the homeowner cannot afford to repair and then put on the market to sell through normal channels. So what I do is I work in off-market channels, okay? So if you have too many repairs or somebody's on a limited income, let's say this is a perfect scenario, somebody's on Social Security, by example, is that they don't have enough to be able to pay for a repair on a roof, so they can't sell it through a realtor. We come in and we pay all cash. You don't have to do any of the repairs, no inspections, no selling with a realtor, no real estate commissions, no closing costs. We take care of all that. Actually, you don't even have to clean it. We'll clean it too, so it makes it really nice and easy for you.
I don't know. This kind of sounds.
Sound shady?
Yeah, it does. So I don't know. And you even clean it too? I don't know. This just kind of just doesn't all sound clear.
It doesn't all sound clear. That makes perfect sense to me. I'm the person that just calls and kind of initiates the contact. Then I talk to y'all a little bit, try to understand if you're looking to sell, if you're not, and then I pass you off to one of my home buying specialists. Now they have a lot more detailed questions, and they know a lot more about the buying process, but they're really the person that I want to get you with. Now, if that works out well, y'all talk for a little bit, you understand the process, they feel that it's a good fit, you feel that it's a good fit, then what they'll do is they'll have an acquisition manager come out and view the property, maybe take about 30 minutes or an hour of your time, walk around, look at it, and then 24 hours after that, they're going to get you an all-cash offer at no obligation. You sign nothing, you agree to nothing, and all you do is get an offer. If the offer isn't to your liking, crumble it up, throw it in the trash, you're done.
Oh, no, guy. No. See, y'all always trying to down the veterans. Everybody always trying to get the nickel that the veterans put in for their home, and all these extensions and all these upgrades that we had done on our home. I want coverage for every single upgrade that we put into our home. No, you guys are always calling, always got something to say. No, click.
I didn't even get an opportunity to rebuttal because I get that all day long, and I got rebuttals for all of those. But this is a good scenario because I do get hung up on all the time. This is just par for the course, par for the course. So, I know we're on a red light here, but since we don't have another speaker, let's extend this just a couple of minutes longer so that y'all can get a full feel and talk a little bit about what happened here, okay? So as I go into these calls, everybody has a little different reaction, right? And so what I need to keep in the forefront of my mind is the one thing that I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to talk to somebody that's possibly interested in selling their home, okay? And then I'm going to talk to a variety of different people about whatever the case may be. Al's approach is a little bit different, you know, and then I had to kind of step over because he continued to talk, so I just had to kind of step over it and talk into it. Sometimes when you get caught on a cold call, people are lonely and have not talked to people in a long time, and they will just start telling you about the most amazing things you've never heard. I mean, the other day I spent on the phone with a lady who told me about floods from like 6 years ago and how she was trapped on a porch, and I listened for 20 minutes before I even. So sometimes that happens, but typically what you want to do on a cold call is you want to push through. A cold call is just a clicking device, if you will, as you rapidly go through numbers to find the one person, bing, I've got a person over here, then you engage them. But you need to learn how to go through the call a little bit further. When I talked to Catherine, it was a little bit more abrupt, right? She was like kind of taking charge of the call, and they're like, who is this? Why are you calling? That's the, you know, it was more like, why are you calling me? I might be at work. Why are you, you know, that's the way I kind of felt, you know? And so I had to approach it a little bit differently and play with it a little bit, and then try to go back into the call and still state the reason for the call, regardless of what people are saying, right? And then as we moved on, and I'm talking to Amy, we talked about a couple different things, and then we talked about the husband thing and the husband and wife thing, and I hear that a lot, and he handles this, and she handles that, so you got to talk to one or the other and that type of thing. And those scenarios happen all the time. And what did I do? I just took the number, talked to her, gathered as much information as possible, and then moved on through the call. I wasn't going to get any further with Amy because she told me, you need to talk to my husband. So after I talked to her husband, well then Amy may be more open to talking to me after she gets the, all right, you talked to my husband, I'm good to go, now we can talk a little bit, and now we'll meet and talk. So that was a call I didn't want to push any further into. I just wanted to wrap up, get off, and I'll give him a call. Now, as we were talking, Abby, it was a little bit different, a little bit, you know, like, hey, you know, and you get that. So what can I do to engage that call? Now, I might not have done it right off the bat, but I want to amp my tone up. I want to talk even more animated than I already do, which is kind of crazy, right? Because I'm pretty animated as it is. I'm like, hey man, we all want to talk, come on, let's talk. I'm like a puppy dog. You're like, so I didn't want to get too over animated, but you do want to bring up the tonality just a little bit, and you want to try to accentuate your words in a way that they're going to be uplifting, so that the other person that may be having like a bad time on the phone or a bad day, or they really don't want to talk to anybody, and maybe they hear a spark of joy that turns them around, that opens up their ears so that I can get what I want out of the call. I want to know, is she going to sell, or could she possibly be selling her home? Tracy's approach is one that I hear all the time. It was very hardcore. You're trying to rip me off. That's all you do. I get 1,000 calls. I get 1,000 postcards. There's letters all over my house. Why do you people keep calling? I'm on the do not call list. You're calling too many times. That type of approach, where it's like slam, slam, slam. You're basically getting punched in the face. It's like jab, 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 right hook, wham, right? And so you take those and you want to try to handle each one of those as they come through. But you got to keep in mind, obviously, what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes it's an eddy and flow process, right? And if she wouldn't have hung up on me, I would have engaged those rebuttals. And some people would like to call them objections, but they're really not objections. Okay, those are just things that are popping into her mind, and those are easy things to overcome if I explain them correctly. If I take the time to explain it appropriately, so if she's defensive about like, oh, you're trying to nickel and dime me on this, this, and this, well, we can talk about that. And then we can talk about the next one, we can talk about the next one, and see if I can untie that knot or that bow that you put there and kind of open up the call a little bit, okay, for the process. So this is a live call scenario. That way we all get a little something out of it. I could get up here and I could give a speech about cold calling. But I don't know if that would be as impactful, and I don't know if you would actually learn quite as much. By going through this process, you get to hear 5 different people's responses, and then me tell you what I think about those responses and what I'm still trying to accomplish, because each one of them were different. Each call is different. So, with that, ding ding, so, a little like, yo, yo. Now we'll move on to the Q&A session. And although we've extended our time, I feel that this is a great conversation, so time does not matter. Does anybody have any questions about cold calling or anything that I might be able to answer? Amy?
Not a question, but a suggestion.
Okay.
I think you should bring this type of scenario or this type of training to the Toastmasters Leadership Institute, and I'll open it up to everybody so that they can come in and you do exactly what you just did here with whoever's in the room. And a lot of people will open up with cold call and understanding better than I've ever heard anyone do it before. That's my suggestion.
Okay, let's do it. Bring 500 people. Let's do it. I'm like the crusher, okay? That would be that would be really good, because the live scenario and hearing what people actually say and what the cold caller is thinking, which we could go much more into what I'm thinking and what I'm trying to achieve, and some of the things that I say to a potential prospect are going to be different based on what they say to me, how they act, their agitation, their level, the excitement, and why I might cut them off, or I might go one way or another. And that's a whole seminar. That's an 8-hour seminar about all the different directions I could go with just cold calling on one product. I love that suggestion. Anybody else have any questions?
I find that the number of calls I get in a day is quite debilitating to anyone who is trying to make a sale. This afternoon during my generic hour, I was interrupted by 3 robocalls. I'm just wondering if we can have a robo answering service put in our telephones and say, you are number 7. Please hold the line for a couple of hours and we'll get back.
That's perfect. That's more of a statement, and I don't know how I would answer that, except that would put me on the job. That would be good, though. That would be good. Did you really get interrupted today? Honestly, did you get interrupted today? 3 times a day. Okay, this is very typical. Okay. In my environment where I'm calling and I'm doing investment calls on real estate, I'm calling people that are of older age, and they are getting multiple calls from hundreds of people, and it happens 2 or 3 times a day. So it is not uncommon for people to just start screaming, you know. And obviously I don't engage those calls. I just click, put them on the do not call list, and move on from there. So, and that happens, but when you have a level of agitation, you need to know that about your customer base and who you're talking to, so that you can sometimes get through that. And one scenario I'll give you that's kind of off topic, but it's on that same scenario. Sometimes I'll get somebody who's older, who's been called a lot, and they'll be real sharp with me, and I'll be real sharp with them, and then they respect me. It's the weirdest thing. So they'll be rude, and I'll be rude, slightly. Rude with professionalism. I don't know what that is. Like a little tweak. But they'll all of a sudden respect me, and it allows me to go into the call. Or they'll say something completely off the wall that's rude, and then I'll just follow up with the same thing. I'll just follow their lead with their tonality and everything, and then they're like, and then I just make a couple jokes and go right back into the call. They just insulted me, and I'm like, so you want to sell your home? I'll pay you cash. Oh, you will? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, great. It's the strangest thing. That's just another thing. That's, anybody else have any questions? Oh, you have another
Do
question.
you ever feel so angry at the insult that you just received that you want to call them back and harass the person?
I'm too old for that now. I don't care. I could care less. There are people that do that. So I've worked in many, many phone rooms over the course of a long time. And there are people that get really upset. And the problem is that they're losing focus. Okay, when you have an in-call scenario if we're all cold callers, one of y'all would lose your whatever over somebody cussing at you or screaming at you, but you're losing the objective. The only objective I am is I'm just trying to figure out if you want to sell your home. That's it. So you can say whatever you want. Die, go to hell, die 1,000 deaths. I've heard it all. I've heard worse. I've heard some crazy stuff. Chop your head off, kill you, blah. And that is extreme, but it does happen. So, yes, Catherine.
Do you get a reward if you do have a successful call? Like you get to ring a bell or blow a horn or
They have a
something?
bell, but I've been doing it so long that I don't. But they do have a bell.
What do you mean by bell?
It's like a bell. Ching! It's like a little bell and you ring it.
Who rings it?
Anybody who had a successful call or sold something, got a lead, you know, that type of thing, but they do have those. Or a gong. I've had a gong too. Y'all don't know. It's like frat house stuff. Anybody else have any questions?
Can you get in the word of the day?
Well, that'd be quite debilitating, so I don't want to do that. Boom! Did I just drop that? That's how we do it. I'm sure glad I'm videotaping myself here so that I can share this with the world on YouTube. Watch out, people! Coming to you live, your cold calling scenario. So this evening, we got a little bit of an example of cold calling, and I hope that y'all learned a little bit from maybe the cold caller's perspective of what I'm doing and how I'm repeating the same phrases and what I'm trying to achieve, and what type of responses you might see and hear and how you might engage those calls. There's a lot more to learn in cold calling. There's a lot further we could go, and a lot, I would say it's like a tree. It has many branches that branch out, and at the end, it's a beautiful leaf if you can get there. Mr. Joseph.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bryan, Swanson, calling. Madam Rose.